Well, hello everyone. As I'm speaking to you, I'm having my very first coffee while sitting on the brand new floor of the Ashtoons studio, at least half of it. Currently, it is about 7 o'clock at night on Wednesday, April the 22nd, 2020. And yeah, this just finished drying on its last process, last step. It was very hard to put this floor in. But you might be surprised to know that the main ingredient of this floor was brown contact paper. The entire process I recorded step by step for you, and I'm going to show you the entire thing now. First, let me clarify that when going to buy all the supplies that I needed for this floor, I took every precaution possible while out there at Lowe's picking all this stuff up. Well, that's it. That's the end of the first day. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning now. Started on Wednesday, April the 8th, 2020. It's about 13 hours of work here. This sucks. I mean, it's going to be worth it once it's done, but man, this job is tedious and it totally sucks. Alright. Time to let it dry. Let you guys get a closer look at it right now, though. It is rippling a little bit in places. I don't know if that's going to go down once it's dry or once the Varathane is added. 1 o'clock the next day now, about 12 hours to dry, and it's starting to dry in the middle of the pieces, but still wet in the places where they overlap. It's the next day now, Friday, and so I have a pretty good feeling that all of the moisture is completely gone. Opened up a window and a door and let a lot of air circulate around here. So this is what it looks like, completely dry. We've got some places here that it started to wrinkle up, and then over there as well. So there's, for the most part, it laid completely flat. Looks great. It's got that leather look I was looking for. Somehow I messed up here. I have no idea what I did differently. I thought I did the whole thing the same. Maybe got a little too much water, didn't smooth down the paper and get enough air bubbles out from underneath it enough, whatever the case. A few little spots here and one over there. It's a few days later now. It's now Monday, April the 13th, 2020. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and it has turned out to be a very long, arduous, patience-testing learning process on this floor. The spots that you saw me try to fix, they did not take. When they dried, they started separating from the floor again, so I had to go back and ripped them up, and this time I scuffed the ground with sandpaper and then put a thin layer of glue directly on the floor and put some more paper over that. So every time I had to retry, that was another day and a half of drying. And so I thought I finally got it. It's finally staying. Of course, we've got discolored spots now. And then last night we had 80 mile an hour winds blowing rain directly at this side of the building. And it got some water around the window. I've got to put some more caulking around there. So it got a little bit of water in on the corner, and so I've had to let that dry. And I think I'm ready to go ahead and start putting the stain on. It's discolored in patches, but what I'm hoping is that the stain will even out the colors. The one I'm going with is something called, I think that's pronounced rustic beige, code 281 by Minwax. I really am just kind of learning as I go here. I have no idea what I'm doing on this floor. I just hope it all works out in the end. Okay, let's give it a little stir. It looks gray. This applicator did come highly recommended, and everybody's telling me to go light with it, so let's just, I'm so nervous. Just lightly put it down in there and see what happens. Why is it gray? Is it supposed to be gray? I don't know what I'm doing. It looks like it doesn't take a whole lot to cover a lot of ground. And it's going fast. I'm just going to make the rest of the floor look just like this. Okay, it went really quick, but there it is. I got up to the edge. I think I was being too liberal with it over here. Probably got a little thinner on this side, but we'll see. Come back in the morning and see what it looks like in the early morning light. And that used up, yeah, the entire thing. So, for a better idea, probably going to need to get either a larger container or 2 more of these in order to finish the job. It is the next morning now. Everything is nice and dry, and well, it did not turn into that light honey color like I thought it was going to. It stayed kind of a grayish blue, which I'm actually okay with. On the good side, you cannot tell the places that I had to rip up and patch unless you're really looking for them. So it did successfully even out the colors. So I'm very happy about that. Bit of a giant time jump, guys. It is now 8 o'clock at night on a Monday night, April the 20th, 2020. I think it's been 2 weeks. And we had a long stretch of dry weather, some actually not raining weather, and I took advantage of that to get as much of the outside work done as I could. But now I am back on the floor. And as you can see, I added some patches of stain-free brown paper to the top to add a little bit of accents, and you know, I really like the way that came out looking. But it is now time to start the coats of clear coat, and according to some of the videos, I might have to put on as many as 5 coats of the clear coat. Most people are familiar with something called polyurethane, but I'm using something called Varathane, and this is floor grade Varathane, and it's pretty much the same thing as polyurethane, only a little more high-end and specially designed for the durability of a floor. So I'm going to be applying it with a 4-inch brush and a roller. I've seen a lot of people using the brush, not the roller. I really hope this works though, because it would make things go a lot faster. All right, so let's start. Seems to be working okay. Seems to be. That is the first coat done and still wet. It ended up taking about half a gallon there. So I've got another gallon. I'm hoping that was just because the floor was absorbing so much on that first coat. I'm hoping I can get the next few in with less Varathane. It's about 12 o'clock the next day now, Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, and the tackiness is pretty much gone. It really feels like it's ready for the next coat, and I really like that the nice leathery look that the Varathane gave these unstained patches is still there, and it has that nice gloss to it that doesn't seem to be going away. So let's go ahead and get that next coat started. As it turns out, all I needed was 4 coats, 3 with the roller and the final one with the brush. The brush laid this nice thick finishing coat on there, and now I just need to let it dry for at least 24 hours before moving everything onto it. I'm going to take all of the tools and everything from this side, move them on to the finished side, and then go back and do this now that I have made it past the learning curve and I kind of know what I'm doing now. Do the bigger side. The biggest things that I learned, number one, is that the glue formula is 50-50. It's 1-to-1. It's not 1 part glue to 3 parts or to 2 parts water, like some of the instructional videos wanted me to believe. Also, if you're going to put down one of these floors on a chipboard like this, it's best to go ahead and scuff it real good with some sandpaper as part of the preparation of the floor. Also, as it turns out, these little coasters from Harbor Freight turned out to be really, really useful, not only as something to put your tub of glue on or your Varathane, your stain or whatever, but also as something to sit on so you can just roll around and not have to walk around on your knees, especially on the stage when you're putting the paper down. So there's that. Now, speaking to the cost effectiveness of this, some of the videos that I watched wanted you to believe that this is the absolute cheapest way to cover a floor. But according to my estimate, it's probably going to take me at least 4 gallons of Varathane to cover this entire studio at $50 per gallon. You have to figure that in, as well as $20 for each roll of contact paper. It's going to take 2 of those. At least 3 gallons of glue. Then there's, of course, the tape, the plastic gloves, the rollers, the brushes, the mineral spirits. When you add it all up, I'm thinking it might be a little under $400 that it's going to cost me to do this entire floor. And if I had gone and just bought a bunch of those vinyl squares and gotten this whole thing done in one day, that probably would have cost less than $400. Of course, those things are kind of ugly. They don't last very long. They curl up on the corners. They're hard to clean. I did not want to do that. This definitely is cheaper than a hardwood floor, but not as cheap as carpet. But I do not like carpet. I don't like the idea of taking cloth and affixing it to the floor where it cannot be taken up and washed. I like area rugs. I do not like carpet. So somewhere in the middle. This is not the cheapest way to cover a floor. It's not the easiest by a long shot. But I like it. I like that it's kind of personal to me now, because I did every step here. And something else the videos want you to believe is that this is a quick thing, but if you're like me, you've never done this before, it's likely going to take you a long time. It took me weeks because of the mess ups, the go backs, the allowing stuff to dry, and anyway. All right, so we're past the learning curve. Going to go on to the other side, but this is where I'm going to end the video. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please make sure to let me know by hitting the thumbs up like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to turn on notifications. I'll leave some comments down in the comment section. Join the Facebook groups, share around. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.